This is Wilson Morales from BlackFemineTV.com talking to Pippa regarding Gangs of London. I've seen the series. I can't help but keep talking about it, even though it hasn't aired yet. You know, this is what happens when you're part of the press. You get that early look. You know, so obviously, let's take it back. What enticed you to take on the series?
I guess I normally just do dramas and the odd period drama and comedy, and I hadn't done something that felt really action based. And I read the opening scene, which is one of my favorite scenes, and I just thought, this is epic. It's going to be so good. And then I knew that Gareth Evans was attached, and I was just like, well, it's a no-brainer, you know, like, and then that was kind of it. And I'm so pleased that I did it, because I'm so proud of it.
Obviously, we can't give away so much, but how would you best describe Shannon Dumani?
She is opinionated, protective, fiery, gentle, kind. I mean, I could go on, Wilson, but I think those are the main things. And she's family first.
Is she just as much as ruthless as the other members of her family?
How much have you seen of the show?
All of it.
Oh, well then you know. But I'm
not. Okay. We're not giving out spoilers, obviously.
We're not giving out spoilers. No, is she as ruthless? I mean, I think, you know, my lips are sealed, but I think there's more to Shannon than immediately meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's fair to say? I think that's fair to say, right?
Yes. You know, obviously, for those who know Gareth' work, you know, we know what to somewhat expect. You know, so as you did the series and as each episode went on, could you believe the amount of high testosterone, you know, violence, action there was? And were you like, can I get in on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I'm not going to give anything away, but yes, I mean, I remember each episode coming in and being like, oh my God, wow. And episode 5, which is just like, you know, extraordinary and could be a standalone film. I think it's just so well done, that I just each episode with the more violent, you know, not promoting that violence is a good thing, but each script that came in, I was like, it's getting cooler and cooler, and also because we all knew that it was in the hands of someone like Gareth, and so it was going to be done properly, and it was going to look great, and it was going to be executed properly. And I think that's really what he's done. I mean, some of those fight scenes took 5 days to shoot. You know, it was a real, and he knew exactly what he wanted. Everything was choreographed from the inch of it, like even all the camera, everything. And I remember going to set. I did a set visit doing one of I think it's the meat cleaver scene with the Chope and the guy in the underwear and it's all. Mm-hmm. And I remember being on set, and he showed me some of it already edited together, and I was like, "This is so cool." Yeah.
Obviously, there's a list of characters and actors in this series. You know, it's almost like watching 10 Little Indians. Who's going to make it out alive? We don't know, but obviously, you know, working with these actors, you know, how much fun was it? You know, obviously, you know, you don't know where they're going to go as you know when you shot the series, but yeah, there was plenty of time for you guys to get along.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly, actually, I knew Joe Cole, Chope, Papa, Lucien, and Valine before we started shooting. So the core people that I was spending most of my time with, I already knew, which was great, because then you didn't have the short. You know, you were already on day one. You were already on a shorthand, which was really nice for the show, because actually at the center of the show are these two families. And family and what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of it right now, but you know, so it was great. And then everybody else who we hadn't worked with or I hadn't worked with, I mean, the cast everybody's so cool, really. I mean, genuinely, and really good at their job. So it was just a delight.
Now, you're a fan of this sort of genre. Have you seen Gareth's films before or anything similar to it?
Yeah, I've watched The Raid, and I mean, I'm a bit like, but it's so good. It's kind of beautiful, actually, and it's so artistically. I know there's something about it that kind of you're like that, but you're still, you know, you're definitely still watching. You're not doing a solid wall. You know, you can actually see because you want to see, but it's just so like, I can't believe that's happening. you know.
You
But
know, but like I said, having seen the series early on, obviously, your character is a little bit separate from what the family does,
yeah,
but stays connected enough to know what they do.
yeah,
They do their thing, you do your thing. If you need to get involved, you will be. You
yeah,
know, and for yourself, um, as when you're playing this role, and that okay, there are moments where your character has to intersect with that family, but then you go on your separate lives, but then you find a way to get involved with Supe's character. You
yeah.
know, um, there's a lot there, obviously, that the audience has to buy that chemistry right away. You
Yes,
know,
yes, you're completely right. Yes.
so how was it working with Supe, knowing that, like, not giving any spoilers, we see where it's possibly going, and that your character is willing to give in so freely.
Well, again, luckily, I'd worked with him before, and also he's just so easy to work with. He's super generous, and we were lucky because we had a good chemistry. And I think when you have that good chemistry with your scene partner, you can then just keep building. The foundation is already there, so you just keep adding little layers. And as Shannon and Elliot's story started to develop and grow, it allowed us to keep adding those little layers to give it that extra bit of whatever it needed, whatever the script was demanding of us. So it was a joy, really. And he's so lovely and so brilliant, and yeah, I had a great time with him.
Now, the American audiences obviously hasn't seen it yet. They'll get to, but it's already played out in England, and from what I read on social media, they were just loving every episode as it went on. What do you think is it about this show, now that it's aired in one part of the country, one part of the world,
Yeah.
that, obviously AMC has picked it up and said, we got to show it to our audience?
Yeah. I think I don't really read reviews, but I've seen some of the headliners, the quotes from, magazines and whatever papers, and people are comparing it to The Godfather and Game of Thrones, and there's something about, I was just saying earlier, that there's something very Shakespearean about the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's larger than life, but it still feels very authentic and very natural, and also it's very, I think it does a really good job at representing London in a really accurate way, which is really important, and especially now with what's going on in the world, I think it's, representation is so important, and our show really does that. So that's one of the reasons I'm kind of obsessed with it, because I think they the team have done a really good job. But I think, I hope that America enjoys it, because I think it's going to be right up your street.
Now, the show has already ended overseas. Obviously, it's going to play here, which means you've had time to do other things. Where will we be seeing you next in?
I'm going to be on a show on PBS called Roadkill, which is written by David Hare, and it has Hugh Laurie and Helen McCrory in. And it's a political thriller, and that comes out in November. Mm-hmm. That's where you'll see me next.
Okay. Well, it's definitely good talking to you. I know we're, like I said before, like I caught it, and then and then because I was like, I'm not gonna wait till November and December to catch the rest of the episodes. I made enough phone calls to be like, I need the rest of it now. I need the rest of it now.
I love that dedication. Great.
It's like you make the calls and you start calling your people overseas. It's like, yo, you know about this show? They're like, yeah. It's like, can you send me a link? So keep doing your thing. Obviously, there'll be people talking about the show, the characters, yourself. Obviously, you have other projects. We'll be looking forward to talk to you about that then. So stay safe.
And you take care. Lovely to speak to you.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Wilson. Bye.